Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
Just because I'm not the target demo doesn't mean something isn't pretty good, and if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean you are in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of industry professionals, and we pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and conversational fashion. And if you like how we do things around here, I'm going to assume that you do, because you're listening to us right now. You can subscribe to us right now. Give us the old like and subscribe and a 5-star rating, basically wherever you get your podcasts. We're at Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google. It's pretty much all good. And plus, we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe there as well, we would absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to find us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and we're on Instagram at In the Seats. But finally, and I say this a lot, but it's the most important, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, knowledgekids.ca, for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, film festivals, basically the moving image at large, because we love to write about it and talk about it. We love it when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please pay us a visit. We got a fun one on this one. We're diving, well, a little bit out of our comfort zone, but, when we see something we like, we got to talk about it. We're looking at Knowledge Kids, the broadcaster over on the West Coast, but they are a viewer-supported public broadcaster. They're called the Knowledge Network. And they've launched their first ever original animated series called Luna, Chip, and Inkie Adventure Rangers Go, and it's available all across Canada on knowledgekids.ca and the Knowledge Kids app if you're not in the West Coast and don't have the channel. But it's simple. It's for the preschool set, I'll be honest, but it's actually a lot of fun. And I mean, it's teaching life lessons, and it's got a genuine charm to it, and it's really kind of entertaining to watch, and I can't recommend it enough. And we had the unique pleasure of sitting down with the senior manager of children's programming at Knowledge Kids, who is also an executive producer on the series, one Michelle Paris, and we talked about sort of the origin of the characters and just sort of the nature of the show in general and future plans for it and all that fun stuff. But if you've got young ones, I would recommend checking this out on knowledgekids.ca. It's pretty entertaining, but first enjoy our talk with Michelle, because between you and me, it's a good one. All right, well, Michelle, obviously, just to kick it off, first off, I just want to say thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it.
Hey, nice to be here, David. Thanks for having us.
Now, I got to watch a little bit of the show. I mean, well, obviously, I'm not the target demo, but there's a charm to it.
Isn't it a charming show?
That was really undeniable. I mean, I guess, can you walk me through sort of the origin of this show and these characters on your end?
So Luna, Chip, and Inkie have been on Knowledge Network, our public broadcast channel, for about 15 years as our little mascots in between the full-length shows. And they are adorable. And for years, people have said, when are we going to see more of Luna, Chip, and Inkie? So, it only took me about 5 years, but we did develop the series. We had to find the right production partners. We had to, raise the production financing, all of the stuff that goes into the making of a TV series. But here they now are. They have their own show. They've got 40 episodes, and we're already launched into season 2. So Luna, Chip, and Inkie are off to a great start.
Well, that's fantastic. And I mean, I love the development of music into it too. It definitely gives it a sort of a different vibe. I mean, can you talk a little bit just in terms of, I guess, maybe the structure of, because you want the kids to learn a lesson, but then you want there to be sort of that fun moment with the song. Can you talk a little bit about how you wanted the show to go?
So we wanted a mix, a balance of entertainment and education. When you have knowledge in your name, Knowledge Network, there's a lot of expectation that you're going to deliver a little bit of a lesson to kids, but we wanted to wrap it in an adventure. So that was, part of why we set it in the outdoors. There's so much scope for kids to play and have fun in this outdoor space. And we really thought hard in every episode with the story editors about what is the adventure they're going on as well as what's the takeaway? What's the lesson that kids are going to remember? And we use the song to help drive that message home as well. So it's really a bit of a balancing act for kids because we want them to love the series and come back and have fun. But at the same time, you're taking something away from each and every episode. So, there's a lot of episodes that deal with issues that kids, have to figure out as they're developing, preschoolers.
Sure.
Social and emotional kinds of things about perseverance and learning to get along. And then there are a few other episodes about nature and the environment. We've got specials that are on this week for Environment Week. So all sorts of topics that are in a little preschooler's life. We had to thread those through the whole series. So yeah, it was a bit of a balancing act.
No, I mean, I love that it's full of characters at the same time, because I mean, obviously you could have done 11 minutes with just the three of them, but there is this whole cavalcade of supporting players as well. How important was it to sort of build a universe around these three characters?
That's building a universe is exactly what we had to do, Dave. We had to make them have a whole universe of both friends and adults. So there's some fun adults. There's Maureen, the crazy moose, who's the leader of the mini moose troop. Bert, who had started life as a ranger, and now he really keeps an eye on the citizens of Eagle Creek. So we wanted to have a mix of older sort of adult figures and then younger kid ones. So there's a great sympathetic little character called Little Bigfoot, who is shy. He's a Yeti. He doesn't really belong in Eagle Creek, but he was desperate to make friends. So in the pilot, before Luna Chip and Inkie got the full series, we introduced Little Bigfoot as the outsider, and he has become fast friends with them. So yeah, you're right. There's a lot of wonderful characters. Beck and Brooke are a couple of otters. They're twins, and we wanted someone to be naughty, but with a preschool show, it's hard to have naughty, bad characters.
There's only so far you can go. Yeah.
There's only so far you can go. So the otters are the naughty ones, and boy, are they mischievous. They get into all sorts of fun trouble. So yeah, lots of really fun characters. And another character that came along as we were in the middle of season 1 of Luna Chip and Inkie, in the middle of production, we came up with this beautiful eagle character. And her name is Amelia Eagleheart. And she is, of course, modeled after Amelia Eagleheart, the play on words. She is an eagle character. And because she has a busted wing, she is not able to fly. So she's had to look for a new way of participating. And she becomes a pilot, a bush pilot in Luna Chip and Inkie's world. So Amelia Eagleheart is such a beautiful character, strong and resilient, that we ended up voice casting an Indigenous woman actress, a Mi'kmaq actress. Nadia George is her name, and she is the voice of Amelia Eagleheart. So in another episode, we go a little bit into her Indigenous background as a character. So there's all sorts of depth and texture that you bring to these characters as you're writing them, and they start coming to life, and you start thinking about their interactions and who brings what to the mix and the adventure. Tons of fun.
I love that, because I mean, obviously it's representative, it's very diverse, and I mean, you're teaching life lessons but giving all this diverse cavalcade of characters. And I mean, I think this is something that's true of obviously of public broadcasting, but I mean sort of in recent years as well, just with the boom of the streamers and sort of the push away from sort of that sort of standard form content. Because I look at something like this, and I mean, if you had to sort of fit into that kind of like 22-minute block, I'm not necessarily sure it would have worked. You know what I mean? Like this feels very sort of organic how it is. And I'm kind of curious, like, how, from your perspective, when it's developing content, is it just about finding the right length for the right story, or is it about sort of having to fit into certain molds?
This format, this series is 11 minutes, and that's become fairly standard in the preschool industry, where this show is part of a library of content we offer. But a lot of the streaming services are sort of pushing the bounds now, and they're making it possible to do series and shows of all different episodes. You can have a bunch of episodes one length and then specials in a different length. So we are looking at, in season 2, expanding and maybe doing some longer form specials as well, maybe for a holiday special or an event kind of thing.
Oh, totally.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, you really get to play a little bit more with these kinds of this, the formats that we're working with. But we also were mindful that kids of a certain age, they have a limited attention span in some ways. You got to keep them busy, you got to keep them entertained, but also we have to build a schedule around their school day and their daycare day and all of those other considerations when we're putting it all together as part of Knowledge Network's broadcasting offer. So there's a lot of things to think about, but we really were trying to make a show for kids who are, modern kids, for kids who have, who are open to the world, who have seen a lot of different things and have been exposed to a lot of different things in their own little preschool way. So we had a great writing room that had some emerging talent. We really were looking hard for diverse writers who could bring their perspective to these stories. And sometimes kids really can relate, like little Bigfoot, who is the story of an outsider. He is a very relatable character for a lot of kids who are in daycares or preschool or kindergarten, and sometimes just have a hard time feeling like, how do I fit in? How do I make friends here? What's my next step? And when they can see these characters on a channel, or they can see these characters and get ideas about, okay, how do I approach someone new? How do I make friends? It's really helpful for them to feel at ease and to feel like there's someone that they can relate to.
Now, I mean, I'm curious, and I've got to ask, because I mean, Knowledge obviously produces like very educational driven programming like this, but at the same time, you're creating content. You still have to balance the entertainment versus the education. What sort of compelled you into sort of this realm of developing content where you're really kind of balancing the two?
Well, for starters, we had Lunatic and Inkie and a big fan base. So we began with what we had. And then you're right, it really is a matter of figuring out what are the kinds of adventures that we can take them on in this world that are fun. And we really had to think hard in every episode, because sometimes we landed on an idea that was lesson-based, and we're like, yeah, but that doesn't sound very fun. So we really, in every story, we had to figure out what kind of adventures are they going to go on, indoors and out, and work at building that world out so that kids were entertained as well as having that kind of fun lesson too. So it's a bit of a balancing act, and we're in the middle of starting to write season 2 scripts. So hey, if you've got any story ideas, send them our way. We want to hear about them. We want kids suggesting stories for us. So yeah, it's fun.
No, but you know what? I think you've struck a really interesting balance between the two, and you created a delightful, it's a delightful piece of work. And I can't wait to see what these 3 characters get up to next. And just thank you so much for the time today. Congratulations on the work.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for your interest.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.